Hey everybody, welcome to G4G on YouTube. I am Napalm Dawn, and here today we're going to talk about what's been going on with Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux. So, as some of you follow the channel for MAAR related content know, a timeline had been posted recently that talked about how things are going to proceed from Alpha 5 on, and wow, that got a little loud there. The one before it wasn't that loud. Lower just a little bit. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, it may still be distracting, but we'll see. The timeline, of course, had Marvel Avengers Alliance, Redux Alpha 5 coming out. Nope, that's still a little loud. Coming out in the beginning of June around the time of Dark Phoenix. Well, that has been delayed a little bit because Goofy is working on the statuses. And he has decided to go ahead and fix a lot of the broken Playdom code that was there and fix statuses so that it is more modular, and by being more modular, it has a better chance of adding debuffs and buffs in the future. So if we come up with a new character who has a new kind of debuff, or we want to fix a buff and debuff, or if Goofy wants to release the instructions on how you can modify the game with your own content, this sets him up for future success. It consumes more time now, but in the end, you get a better experience. And it's not just about local modding. So when I say local modding, if you are a fan of, say, Skyrim, or games similar to Skyrim, I'm trying to think of what else has been the Fallout series. So the Fallout series and Skyrim are known for having a very big mod community, especially on the PC, and that's where console players kind of get the shaft a little bit, although I think Xbox said they will work with some mods. There's a community called the Nexus community, and there's an app called the Nexus Mod Manager that allows you to modify the game based on content that is produced, and that can be full-on big-ass content like a DLC that somebody creates for free, or small modifications. And if we're going to take Skyrim, there might be cleaner male and female mods where they don't look as dirty, or maybe a mod that makes them dirtier, more appropriate of what might be going on at the time. Nude mods have been around for long periods of time, so if the game is more modular, you can make more modifications to the game, provided you have some instructions from Goofy on how to do it, and you have a rudimentary understanding of game code. If you ever screw up your client so bad, no big deal, you just download it again without the changes that you screwed up your game with, and then you're back to square one. Now, obviously, some forms of modification can get on the level of cheating if you did what the old Latin American, South American hackers used to do, where they would modify Quicksilver to do millions of points of damage with his AoE, and you knew Quicksilver generally went first in combat. That's more on the line of cheating, and if you want to make that mod, you're not harming anybody but your own experience with the game. So that's what he's been working on. However, he's recently discussed that he's going to put a lot of the status stuff on hold to make some more short-range modifications to the game to make Alpha 5 stand out against Alpha 4. And if the statuses are going to take too long to do that, which that's coming true, he's going to kind of shelve that a little bit and go for more quicker obtainable victories, like, say, agent customization, or recruiting beyond the stock 28 or something like that. So one of the things that I just happened to think was funny today is this picture of hair modification on the agent, and when you look at that sprite, I mean, that's Karen hair. That is Mega Boss Karen hair. There was a post that I saw recently of somebody with hair similar to that. It's like when you get past all the sub Karens and meet the grand Karen of them all. If you don't know the meme, it's basically a certain hairstyle that is attributed to bitchy white women that go into restaurants or places and demand to speak to the manager, and the name attributed to that type of character is often Karen. Let's see if I can get you an example of that. So that old, yeah, none of these are really quite examples of it. No, yeah, okay, so this is a little bit of a Karen. There we go, Karen. This one right here. You see that hair? This reminds me of, what was it? The eight. Not Eight is Enough. That's the Dick Van Dyke, but the kind of Asian guy and the white girl who had the huge family of kids on like Discovery Network or something, and then eventually they had marital problems and divorced. This always reminds me of her because she was one of those people who had it. So yeah, see, watch out, Karen. You're about to get Karen the Unstoppable Force, the manager. I am the manager. This is the can I speak to the manager hair, and when I see that, and then you compare it to that, it looks very, very much like Karen hair. Now, poor Karen Gillian, that's Nebula, by the way, in case you've never seen Nebula when she's not Nebula, that's her right there. So anyway, that's where we're looking now in Alpha 5. We should probably have something somewhat soon, and the whole status system is probably not going to be in effect at the release, but there will be other things that set it apart. And for a lot of you, Alpha 4 was not working very well on your machines, and that was fixed with a micro patch, but not everybody, there was not a lot of press about the micro patch to fix 4. So 5 is just going to start off working. For you Mac people, I don't necessarily know if the whole Adobe Air thing is going to be fixed for Macs in Alpha 5. But there is one thing that I really wanted to talk about, and that is the meat of this video. Why I wanted to do this one today. Yes, the status of Alpha 5, no pun intended, is definitely a boon for you guys to know where things are in that. However, the real reason I wanted to do this video today is I happened to come across this page on the Avengers Alliance wiki. So I was a page back on the wiki today, and I saw this recent wiki activity, and I saw that BR, one of the writers, had Marvel Avengers Alliance Mobile had edited this, and I was like, oh, I've never seen that page. I want to go and read it. So here it is, Marvel Avengers Alliance Mobile. It started on Facebook in 2012, the Playdom site a few months later in July of 2012. The mobile version first came to iOS in 2013, June of 2013, and then nearly Thanksgiving in 2013. So that means that the Android version was the latest one released chronologically. And by the way, the Android version was also the Windows Store version for all the Windows mobile devices. The last version was 6.4.9 for iOS. In March of 2016, well before we knew the game was dying, both the iOS and Android versions were killed from their respective app stores, but you could still play them provided you had them installed until the death of the game, October 1st. On September 1st, it was announced that everything would get wrapped up, blah blah blah. The mobile version had a delay. After that, attempting to load the game will receive a server error. And people mention that today. They're like, oh, I still find it on the Play Store. I still have a device that has it, blah blah blah. I want you guys to understand what you're getting told in this video, because these questions come up constantly. And I said in a video somewhat recently, within the last few months, why do you people keep asking about the Android version of the game? Where the fuck were you when the Android version of the game was actually live? And I will answer that question before you answer me, and that was you weren't playing it on the Android version because it was a hot, steaming pile of rhinoceros shit baking in the African sun. And you're gonna see now, this is why I'm so glad I read this page, you're gonna find out exactly how bad it was on the Android version. So, first off, doesn't sync with Facebook or Playdom. We knew that. iOS players could sync up their single mobile version account across different devices by having a Facebook account. Players can connect their Facebook account to the mobile version, connect using the same Facebook account on another device, blah blah blah. This feature is quote-unquote coming soon to Android, which means it didn't happen. A warning to all Android players, because there is no syncing for the Android version. If you lost your phone, if your phone was stolen, if you wiped your phone, if you were on the phone with Verizon support and you're like, my phone is on fire and I can't make phone calls, what do? I need to call Karen at the hair salon and tell her my haircut sucks. And they're like, oh, we can boot your phone into recovery and refresh your phone so that it's not on fire and you can call Karen about your shitty haircut. And you're like, okay, how do I do that? Power, volume down, okay, reset. Are you sure you want to reset? Yes. Boom. There goes all your Android progression on the mobile version. Because there was no syncing. And if you wiped your data and your OBB, you were screwed. And people on this wiki forum said over and over and over and over again how they had to contact Playdom support to have any chance of recovering from it, and generally it wasn't recoverable. Players can share their devices with friends and have their own separate accounts, blah blah blah. You can have up to 150 allies only on the iOS version. PvP is not connected between the four, we knew that. See also game development Android website. Features of the agent customization, so left to right, Facebook, Playdom, Android, iOS. So Android is the next to last. Agent customization, yes, yes, no to Android, but yes to iOS. Research, yes with a caveat. Research in the mobile version is only for Spec Ops gear. No other research is available. And that's both Android and iOS. Daily rewards, blah blah blah. The ability to delete and remove your allies from the game. No on Android. Yes on everything else. Marvel XP. Yeah, that was very short-lived. Yes on Facebook. It died pretty quickly. Blah, blah, blah. Availability of PvP number of tournaments. Facebook 13. Playdom 13. Android 3. iOS 10. Number of story chapters available. 12, 12, 7. 11. Number of Spec Ops, 26. 16 because it died. Yes, no, yes, question mark, no Spec Ops 1. And 15 on iOS with no Spec Ops 1. PvP bonuses, offense, defense, question mark. Attack and defense. Challenge mode, yes, yes, no, yes. Teams and team tournaments, no, yes, no, no, no. So this was a weird thing that only Playdom took part of. It's kind of like when you go into Marvel Future Fight and pick between whether you were like on the mutant side or the registration or anti-registration, mutants and Inhumans and everything like that. It was only on Playdom, so that doesn't really count. Version exclusive limited gear. Yes, no, yes, yes. Alright, there you go. There's something for Android that fell in line. Lockboxes and collections. Yes, yes, no, yes. Another no. Covert tasks. Yes for everything. Old sound effects. No, no, no. Yes on iOS. Question for Android. And then the jet colors. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Number of heroes. 39 on Android. No Iron Man 3 uniforms made it there. However, they made it to the iOS. And then this section talks about who is available where and what the differences were and some of the differences in how they looked. So here on Playdom, this was the whole team thing that they were talking about. Really only ever existed there. iOS and Android shared similar things. iOS version talks about stuff, continuity problems between them. So the first hero outside of the original 28 is Gambit, followed by Rogue and Black Panther. In the original version, it was Black Panther by Scarlet Witch and Rogue. Hercules was released next, and most recently Quicksilver, Beast, Punisher, Scarlet Witch. Adamantium League PvP was Punisher, Psylocke, and Cable. And X-23, but in the original version, it was Deadpool. We all know that. And then it talks about how it skipped Spec Ops 1 on all of them. It talks about the currency. So there you go, guys. This page tells you what a miraculous pile of utter crap the Android version was. And yet, there are people on, not so much Discord, but there are people on Facebook, there are people on the comments of my video that are like, can we have the Android version? God, what? How are you people not disgusted by the original turn of MAA on Android? Like, where are you people coming from? I don't get it. Yes, I understand now that the capability of iOS devices and Android devices, be it phone or tablet, has way expanded since the game was on mobile. I mean, you probably have a car display that would be capable of playing the mobile version of MAA. Granted, everything is better, but if the production value of the Android version of the game was so utter and complete shit when the game was live, and it was so buggy and so crashy, and I think in that game you could cheese PvP. If you knew you were going to lose, you could kill the game and go back in and not suffer the loss the way you could on Facebook and everything. I believe so. Don't hold me to that, because I didn't pay attention to the Android version of the game when it was live, because it was a steaming pile of shit. I've said it 12 times so far. Like, oh, where are you people coming from? What gauntlet monster spawn generator are you people spewing forth from, going Android, 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 Android? Like, all I gotta say is go read this page and you'll understand why it was garbage. And I'm sorry to say, if you know anything about coding, if you understand any concept of what it is like to take a game out of the literal delete bin of the internet and revive it and fix broken code and add new code that fixes broken code that was originally in the game that we simply accepted, actually brings forth a more fixed product. It's not a product because it's not being sold to you, but you know what I mean. A more fixed entity than when the game was actually live and everything like that. You are being ridiculously greedy to think that this dev, who is doing the very best he can for the Windows version of this, and is also trying to get in a way that is compatible with Macs and potentially Linux, if you have a way of doing like Flash files and everything, or yeah, Flash and Shockwave files on Linux. To think that you could get this guy to do a version on Android 2, because why? What is the reason you even want an Android version of it? Is your computer such an absolute fucking diseased potato that you don't think you will be able to run the Windows download? Do you not own one? I mean, like, what is the reason that you want an Android version one so much other than portability? I mean, it blows and boggles my mind that you can't sit there and be happy that this dead game that we all loved And some of us, like, legitimately were crying over when it was dying and it was dead and it was the last day and everything like that. And you're like, oh yeah, sure, throw me out an Android version too. Do you think this is like McDonald's, where you can ask for a cheeseburger with no pickles? They'll just be like, oh yeah, we got some in the back we haven't made yet. Bob, do this one without pickles. Like, it's not that simple. So shut up about the Android version. Fucking Christ. So that's I really had to get this off my shoulder, because it off my chest, my shoulders, my back, my neck. I just, man, it just slays me with that. So, in other interesting news, Marvel Strike Force is being rumored to potentially have ISO 8 in the game as character mods, in the way that maybe would get a drop that was like an attack ISO 8 and you slot it on Gamora, and maybe it's a hit point ISO 8 and you like slot it on Captain America or something like that. People are kind of half losing their mind over that. Some people are like, oh, well, it ruined all the other games, and some people are like, no, it was the best thing. Let me tell you something about that. I actually read a post that I jumped all over it like a shark in blood-infested chummy water. It's like, when Marvel Avengers Alliance introduced ISO 8, it made it pay to win, and the game died a year after. The fuck are you smoking? What the hell are you honestly bringing into the lungs of your body that transfers through the cell wall of the air sacs and gets drawn through the heart, pumped through the right and left vessels of the heart, and shot up to your brain? What chemical is in your goddamn blood that you think ISO 8 was introduced a year before the game died, and that's what killed Marvel Avengers Alliance? This is a theory that is so crackpot. I have never, ever heard anybody quote ISO 8 was introduced a year before Avengers Alliance died and killed the game. Literally nobody has ever said that. People blame Disney, people blame Playdom, people blame the failure of Avengers Alliance 2, blah blah blah. And there's all kinds of blame that was thrown around, when in reality Disney was pulling in a lot of its licensed games. They pulled it back from Playdom. They said, you don't have the license to use this anymore. Playdom's like, yep, I guess the Marvel game based on Marvel people, and we can't use the Marvel people anymore. Oh well. I mean, does anybody want to recode Iron Man into Ferris Dude and make him pink and black instead of gold and red? Nope. Alright. Sorry, guys. Like, literally nobody thinks that ISO 8 killed Marvel Avengers Alliance. And you know what's really, really funny about it is the fact that he thinks it happened a year before the game died. Okay. The stat ISOs were in the game from the beginning. And yes, there was a pay-to-win element of it. The pay-to-win element was when you got the ISO 8 that you had to pay for in gold. And truly, like, I was in Ada for a long time, and I didn't really ever spend a whole lot of gold on stat ISO 8. It's like, that was like super try-hardy, and to be honest, I don't think I ever, heard Kingfisher talk about it. You were a certain kind of a whale scrub if you were spending gold on that ISO 8 for just that minor little boost. And then eISO 8 was around for a while, and look, augmented ISO 8 was only introduced in the game, if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, March or April, no, there it is, March of 2014. So this is the crack this guy is smoking over here. He found ISO 8 is pay to win, and he only has the most nominal of points on that. It is a tiny, tiny point that, yes, if you were a whale and you got a lot of gold and you outfitted all your PvP characters all the time with the gold level of stat ISO 8, yes, That was a little bit on the pay-to-win side. However, you still had armory that counteracted it, and you still had hero bonuses that counteracted it. And anytime one of those didn't fit, you were labeled as a cheater, and you were absolutely shamed, and you were probably reported to Playdom. So the whole pay-to-win nature of, getting a $55,000 tax refund and setting up all your characters with gold level ISO 8, like, it only went but so far. And mostly it was your armory bonuses and your hero bonuses that really dictated how you would win in an even match in there. So, yeah, not even the ISO 8 was pay to win. But the thought that, like, not even the latest available ISO 8, which is the A ISOs, were introduced in 2015 or 2016. 2014 was when they were introduced, and the first Spec Ops where they appeared as character restricted was Spec Ops 28, which was, in fact, 2015. It began in July of 2015, almost 4 years ago. We had Enter the Ant-Man. But seriously, I cannot wait until this guy gets the notification in his mail, or that little notifier thing in the upper right of YouTube, like when that bell gets a 1 for him and he reads the absolute inferno level flame I laid on this guy for smoking so much crack to think that ISO 8 killed Marvel Avengers Alliance. I hope he responds, because I really want to engage on this person, because I will drop so much fact on this guy. It's not even, you can't even say in its opinion that ISO 8 killed Avengers Alliance. It is a bullshit fallacy. Like anything else you could say, was it played on, was it Disney, was the failure MA2, was it the failure of Marvel Avengers Alliance Tactics, another steaming pile of cow shit in the grand scheme of things when it came to MAA. Matt was just so awfully implemented. It was laggy, it just garbage. I know there's Matt fans out there, but man, Matt was garbage. I liked Marvel Avengers Alliance too. I'll stick up for it. Maybe that won't win me a lot of fans, but God, ISO 8 killed Marvel Avengers Alliance. You're fucking nuts. Fucking crazy. Anyway, I think that's about all the topics I wanted to cover in this one. Oh, actually, no. Wait, there is one more. So in a lot of the videos that I've been talking about lately, I've been, really patting the back of the artist community. And I'm like, this is so great. We made the call for artists. We said we need graphics people. We need visual artists. Like, we need people who are capable of visually putting into the game what the writers' teams want. Like, if they want a new character, we got to do a new sprite. There's only so many sprites in the game that could be modified to look like somebody else. Like, yeah, you can make Minerva out of a Captain Marvel, but then what? Like, some people have made, like, a green Scarlet Witch into Polaris. Like, okay, but, maybe there are just completely new and unique characters that you can't just palette swap them, like Sector and Cyrax and Sub-Zero and Scorpion. It's not always going to work that way. So, and we need, portrait art, and we need chapter art and Spec Ops art, all of that. And we need somebody who could maybe sprite up a new gun or a new sword or something like that. And yeah, you could just maybe make a slight modification to the hilt, or, adorn it in some way, shape, or form. But it's probably going to get old quick, because we want some longevity out of Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux. So as much as a lot of artists have come out of the woodworks and have joined the Facebook group and have shown great strides in art, and there's a lot of people who I think we're going to tap for this. I said for, a while there that the art stuff is going to be hard simply because it was proving to be hard to find. That's been generally fixed. As a member of the content committee, I've been auditing a lot of the submissions lately. That's part of what I get to do on this project, to try and help out. And I go and I'm not really changing things so much, but I'm looking for flow and, grammatical items and everything like that. Does everything make sense? Are they going to reference something in a way that the writers get because they're all the writers? But as a outsider, like, are we going to get that reference? Or things clear? So just kind of like proofreading a lot of stuff. And I can tell you, I cannot spoil. Don't ask me any of the plot details of Spec Ops and chapters. I will not reveal them. I can't. I've talked a little bit about some of my own ideas. One of them I will not be able to talk about in videos now. But what I have seen out of the writers group has been phenomenal. I mean, it is on par with the levels of impressiveness as the artists that have popped up lately with new and original works. I mean, they are tying threads together from Spec Ops to Spec Ops and chapters into Spec Ops, and Coulson might say one thing over here in a chapter in a mission, and then it's referenced in a Spec Ops. You may have, like, sort of like the way in the movies, like, Thor keeps calling Rocket Raccoon a rabbit and everything like that, and if he references that in a different movie where it's said, that's continuity, that's like a thread. That level of threading and continuity, the way a TV show makes sure a cup is exactly where it is after the commercial break and whatnot, or from version to version, that is happening with the writers group, and it is phenomenal. The writers group is extremely talented, and they're writing good stuff. They are writing a lot of quality content that when you get the game and you play through all the stuff you've played before, and you're like, now what? I'm at the finish line over here. What do I do now? That it's gonna be there. Like, you will have new stuff to consume, like a wonderful cinnamon roll and everything like that. And it's good. It's not scattershot. It has cohesion. The writing style is pretty much exactly the same throughout. They're capturing the essence of a lot of heroes. They are saying things you can imagine them saying. They're not just parroting something that was said in a movie, which is easy to do. They're distilling the essence of a character. I mean, anybody can kind of make a Drax joke the way he presents himself in the MCU movies, but there are more subtle characters and everything like that. We know, like, Thor has gone through his thematic change in the movies, and it's that kind of flow that you're going to see from Spec Ops into chapters and other game modes that you've never seen before that I can't speak about, but it further shows what the writing group can do. So, I've been talking so much about the graphic and visual side of this over several videos. It's now time to highlight the writers group. I mean, literally there is not a weak point in this chain that is working on this game. Goofy's working his ass off on it. He's doing what he believes he needs to do for the very hungry and thirsty public. If he knows something's going to take a while, rather than just make everybody wait, he'll shift it to the side and give people more minor victories and be like, here, have this, be happy, chew on this for a little while. Let me do the longer stuff in the background once, like, Alpha 5 gets out there. And, visually, we've got people on board that can continue to do artwork for us as we come up with new stuff. And, writing-wise, cohesion, the actual text you see scrolling on the screen, the conversations between people, it's very, very good. And I cannot wait for you guys to begin to see the new and original content that is going to come out for this game when it gets off the ground. So I'll keep you guys in touch with how Alpha 5 is going, and we'll go from there. Thanks a lot, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. See ya.